Have you ever made a big New Year's resolution to change your life, only to fall back into old habits by February? You're not alone. We're told that to get big results, we need to take massive, drastic action. But what if the secret wasn't a bigger goal, but a smaller one? Welcome to the audiobook of The Art of the Small Win, How Micro Habits Can Lead to Macro Success. In the following chapters, you'll discover a powerful, science-backed method to achieve your biggest goals in health, work, and life, not through grueling effort, but through tiny, too-small-to-fail actions. So, settle in and get ready to learn how to build an avalanche of success, starting with a single stone. The Art of the Small Win, How Micro Habits Can Lead to Macro Success. Forward. In a world that relentlessly celebrates the overnight success and the quantum leap, we have become conditioned to believe that meaningful change must be dramatic, disruptive, and immediate. We look at the towering figures of industry, arts, and science, and marvel at their monumental achievements, often overlooking the truth of their journey. Their success was not born from a single grand gesture. It was meticulously assembled, piece by piece, through a series of small, consistent actions performed with unwavering dedication. This book is an ode to those small actions. It is a guide to the profound and often underestimated power of the micro-habit. We will dismantle the myth that radical transformation requires radical upheaval. Instead, you will discover that the most sustainable, effective, and accessible path to achieving your grandest ambitions lies in the art of the small win. It's about understanding that every great oak was once a tiny acorn, and that the daily, almost imperceptible act of nurturing that acorn is where true power resides. It's the difference between trying to violently blast a tunnel through a mountain and patiently carving a path, one stone at a time. The first approach leads to burnout. The second leads to your destination. Prepare to shift your perspective from chasing seismic shifts to celebrating the subtle yet powerful impact of a single, well-placed step. Introduction: The Avalanche of Accomplishment. Imagine standing at the top of a vast, snow-covered mountain. Your goal is to start an avalanche of positive change in your life. The popular heroic narrative suggests you should try to shove the entire mountain face at once, a monumental effort destined for immediate failure, leaving you exhausted and demoralized. But the wise mountaineer knows a different secret. They don't look at the mountain. They look for a single, small, perfectly placed stone. With a gentle nudge, that stone starts to roll. It dislodges a few pebbles. This small cluster of movement gathers a little snow, then a little more. It rolls faster, its mass and momentum growing exponentially until what began with a tiny, almost silent push becomes an unstoppable, thundering force of nature. This is the perfect metaphor for micro-habits. Too often, we approach our goals like trying to move the mountain. We set grandiose New Year's resolutions to completely revolutionize our diet, to leap from a sedentary lifestyle to exercising 5 days a week, or to write a prize-winning novel in a month. These resolutions are born of great intention, but they are often too big, too intimidating, and too disruptive to our established lives. They require a level of activation energy we simply cannot sustain, and so they are doomed from the start. This book offers a different path. It is the path of the small, nudged stone. It's about breaking down your loftiest aspirations into actions so small they seem trivial, almost comical. An action as simple as doing one push-up, reading one page of a book, flossing one tooth, or meditating for a single minute. These too-small-to-fail actions are designed to sneak past your brain's powerful resistance to change. They don't require a deep reservoir of motivation. They build it. Each small win, each tiny habit successfully completed is a deposit in your confidence bank. It is a vote for your new identity. It's a spark that ignites the next action, which in turn provides the fuel for the one after that. Consider the story of the British cycling team. For nearly a century, they were a global laughingstock. They had won a single gold medal in 76 years. Then in 2003, they hired Sir Dave Brailsford as their performance director. Brailsford championed a philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. His approach was simple: find a 1% improvement in everything you do. They didn't focus on a single magic bullet. Instead, they redesigned bike seats for more comfort, rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip, and had their riders wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature. They even tested different massage gels and taught riders the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chance of illness. On their own, these changes seemed trivial, but together they compounded into extraordinary success. Within a decade, the British cycling team dominated the sport, winning multiple Tour de France titles and dozens of Olympic gold medals. They didn't change by moving the mountain. They did it by aggregating thousands of small wins. Over the coming pages, we will become architects of our own marginal gains. We will explore the compelling science behind why this method works, the practical strategies for implementing it in every facet of your life, and the incredible compounding effect that turns these tiny ripples of action into a tidal wave of success. Welcome to the Art of the Small Win. Part 1. The Foundation of Change. Chapter 1. The Dopamine Loop. Hacking your brain's reward system. At the very core of human motivation lies a powerful neurotransmitter, dopamine. Often misunderstood as simply the pleasure chemical, dopamine's role is far more nuanced and critical to our ability to form habits. It is the chemical of desire, anticipation, and motivation. It isn't just released when you receive a reward. A larger, more influential release occurs in anticipation of a reward. It's the neurological engine that drives you to act. This system creates the dopamine loop. When you anticipate that an action will lead to a positive outcome, your brain releases dopamine, which motivates you to take that action. When you complete the action and receive the reward, another burst of dopamine reinforces the entire neural pathway. This reinforcement teaches your brain, that was a good thing. Let's do it again. The fundamental problem with setting massive, long-term goals is that the anticipated reward is too distant. If your goal is to lose 50 pounds, the reward is months, if not years away. After a week of hard dieting and exercise, you might step on the scale and see little or no change. Your brain gets no satisfying reward signal. The dopamine dries up, and with it, your motivation. You conclude the effort isn't worth it. A small win, however, is a brilliant neurological hack of this system. When your goal is to do just one push-up, the anticipation is minimal, it's easy, and the reward is immediate. The moment you complete it, you feel a sense of accomplishment. That is the reward. You have successfully closed the loop. Your brain releases a satisfying hit of dopamine, reinforcing the one push-up habit. More importantly, you have sent a powerful signal to your subconscious. I am the kind of person who follows through on their intentions. We can make this even more powerful by understanding the concept of reward prediction error. Your brain learns fastest not from predictable rewards, but from rewards that are slightly better than expected. You can leverage this. After you complete your microhabit, don't just give yourself a mental checkmark. Take a moment to genuinely savor the feeling of accomplishment. Maybe you do your one push-up, and then, feeling good, you do 2 more. That bonus rep feels fantastic. Or after meditating for 1 minute, you allow yourself to listen to one favorite song. By slightly varying or upgrading your celebration, you keep the reward fresh and exciting, strengthening the habit loop even further. By consciously designing a series of small, achievable wins and celebrating them, you are creating a reliable, self-perpetuating stream of dopamine. You're not relying on willpower. You're using smart science to become the architect of your own motivation.
Chapter 2. The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. To master the art of the microhabit, we must first become engineers of our own behavior. We need to understand the fundamental mechanics of how any habit, good or bad, is formed and operates. James Clear, in his groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits, provides a brilliantly simple yet powerful framework for this process. He deconstructs every habit into a 4-step loop that is continuously running in our brains: cue, craving, response, and reward. Number 1, the cue. This is the trigger, the bit of information that predicts a reward and kicks off the habit. Our lives are filled with cues: a specific time of day, your 3 p.m. slump, a location, like walking past a bakery, a preceding event, like finishing a stressful meeting, or an emotional state, like feeling bored, can all act as powerful triggers for our behaviors. Number 2, the craving. The cue creates a craving. This is the motivational force behind every habit. It's crucial to understand that we do not crave the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You don't crave the act of scrolling on social media, you crave the escape from uncertainty or boredom it provides. You don't crave smoking a cigarette, you crave the feeling of relief from stress. Number 3, the response. This is the actual habit you perform, the thought or action you take. Whether the response occurs depends on a mental calculation that happens in an instant. How motivated are you, and how much friction or effort is associated with the behavior? If the friction is high, the habit is unlikely to occur. Number 4, the reward. Finally, the reward is the end goal. It satisfies your craving, and most importantly, it teaches your brain which actions are worth remembering and repeating in the future. If a behavior is unsatisfying, you have no reason to do it again. These 4 steps form a neurological feedback loop that, when repeated, automates a behavior. To create good habits, our strategy is to apply 4 laws that make the behavior irresistible. Number 1, first law, cue. Make it obvious. You can't act on a cue you don't see. Want to practice guitar? Don't leave it in the case in the closet. Put it on a stand in the middle of your living room. Want to drink more water? Fill up a water bottle and place it on your desk every morning. Number 2, second law, craving. Make it attractive. We are more likely to do things we find appealing. You can use a strategy called temptation bundling by pairing an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, I will only listen to my favorite true crime podcast, The Want, while I am on the treadmill, The Need. Number 3, third law, make it easy. This is the beating heart of the microhabit philosophy. Reduce the friction associated with an action. Go for a 30-minute run is hard. Put on my running shoes is easy. Prime your environment to make good habits the path of least resistance. Number 4, fourth law, make it satisfying. The human brain evolved to prioritize immediate returns. A behavior must be enjoyable or satisfying to be repeated. The feeling of accomplishment after a small win is an immediate reward. Tracking your habits on a calendar and seeing the chain of X's grow provides satisfying visual proof of your progress. This framework is also a powerful tool for breaking bad habits. You simply invert the laws. Inversion of the first law, make it invisible. Trying to cut down on junk food? Don't keep it in the house. Unsubscribe from food delivery apps. Inversion of the second law,
make it unattractive. Reframe the benefits. Instead of thinking, smoking relieves my stress, consciously focus on the reality, this is destroying my lungs, costing me money, and setting a bad example for my children. Inversion of the third law, make it difficult. Increase the friction. If you want to watch less TV, unplug it after each use and put the remote in another room. Want to stop hitting snooze? Move your alarm clock across the bedroom so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. Inversion of the fourth law, make it unsatisfying. If you're trying to quit a bad habit, find an accountability partner. The social cost of having to tell a friend you failed can be a powerful, unsatisfying consequence. By understanding and consciously applying these laws, you move from being a passenger in your life to being the driver.
Part 2. The Architect's Toolkit. Chapter 3. The Too Small to Fail Mandate. The single greatest point of failure in our quest for self-improvement is our tendency to let our ambition outrun our ability. We get a burst of motivation and decide to change everything at once. This enthusiasm, while well-intentioned, is the enemy of consistency. The too small to fail philosophy is the strategic antidote to this self-sabotaging impulse. The core principle, championed by thinkers like Stephen Geiss and B.J. Fogg, is this: shrink your desired habit down to a version that is so laughably easy, so utterly simple, that it is virtually impossible not to do it, even on your worst day. You are not looking for a challenge that requires Herculean willpower. You are looking for a victory that requires almost zero effort. Why? Because motivation is a fickle and unreliable resource. It ebbs and flows with your mood, your energy levels, and the stresses of the day. A system built on consistency, however, can function even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Let's put this into practice. Grand goal: I'm going to finally write my novel. Micro habit: write 25 words, not a chapter, not a page, just 1 or 2 sentences. The act of opening the document and typing anything is the win. Grand goal: I'm going to get in shape. Micro habit: do 1 single push-up. You don't even have to change your clothes. Just get down and do 1. Grand goal: I'm going to become a meditator. Micro habit: sit down, close your eyes, and take 1 deep breath. That's it. You've meditated. The immediate reaction to this is often skepticism. This is silly. How can 1 push-up or 25 words make any real difference? This objection misses the point entirely. The initial goal of a micro-habit is not an outcomes-based goal. It is an identity-based goal. The purpose of the single push-up is not to build muscle. The purpose is to cast a vote for your new identity as a person who exercises. Every time you do that 1 push-up, you provide your brain with tangible proof that you are the kind of person who shows up. When you focus on the identity, the outcomes take care of themselves. Once the habit of showing up is deeply ingrained, you'll naturally start to do more. After you've written your 25 words, you'll often find yourself in the flow and write 500. After you've done your 1 push-up, you might think, well, I'm already down here, I might as well do a few more. But all of that is a bonus. The win was secured the moment you completed the too small to fail version. This approach removes the psychological friction, silences the nagging voice of procrastination, it's too hard, and builds a foundation of undeniable, consistent success.
Chapter 4. Habit Stacking, Anchoring Your Actions. One of the most elegant and effective ways to integrate a new habit into your life is to tether it to a behavior you already perform automatically. This powerful strategy, known as habit stacking, leverages the momentum of your existing routines. Your current habits, brushing your teeth, making coffee, putting on your shoes, are already hardwired into your brain. They have established cues and neural pathways. By linking your new desired habit to one of these strong anchors, you create an effortless reminder and a seamless transition into the new behavior, making its adoption almost automatic. The formula, as articulated by B.J. Fogg, is beautifully simple. After or before current habit, I will, new micro-habit. To use this effectively, start by listing your current non-negotiable daily habits. These are your anchor points. Examples include waking up, turning off your alarm, making your bed, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, getting dressed, pouring a cup of coffee or tea, eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner, starting your car, sitting down at your desk, taking off your work shoes, putting your head on the pillow. Now, you can stack your new micro-habits onto these anchors. The key is specificity. Health stack. After I brush my teeth in the morning, I will take my daily vitamin. Mindfulness stack. After I start the coffee maker, I will meditate for 1 minute while it brews. Fitness stack. Immediately after I take off my work shoes, I will change into my workout clothes. Learning stack. Before I am allowed to check social media on my phone, I must first complete one lesson in my language app. Troubleshooting your stacks. What happens when a habit stack isn't working? 1. The anchor is inconsistent. If your anchor habit doesn't happen at a reliable time, for instance, after I check email, your new habit won't either. Choose a more concrete and inevitable anchor, like after I sit down for lunch. 2. The transition is awkward. If your new habit is in a different location, the friction is too high. After I finish dinner, I will go to the basement and lift weights is less effective than after I finish my dinner, I will put my plate in the dishwasher, which can then be stacked with after I put my plate in the dishwasher, I will walk to the basement. Sometimes you need a chain of stacks. 3. The new habit takes too long. After I pour my coffee, I will write for 30 minutes is a poor stack. The coffee will get cold, and the duration is too long. The new habit should be shorter than or equal in duration to the anchor. A better stack is, after I pour my coffee, I will open my journal and write 1 sentence. By carefully choosing your anchor and making the new habit tiny, you are creating a sequence of behaviors that flows as naturally as a river, pulling your new intentions along in its current. Chapter 5. Gateway Habits and the 2-Minute Rule. Some habits have a disproportionately positive impact on our lives. These are gateway habits, or as Charles Duhigg famously termed them in The Power of Habit, keystone habits. A keystone habit is a small change or routine that people introduce into their lives that unintentionally cascades into other areas, sparking a chain reaction of other positive behaviors. They are the master levers that, when pulled, move many other parts of your life in the right direction. For many people, regular exercise is the ultimate keystone habit. When people start exercising consistently, they often start eating better and become more productive at work without consciously planning to do so. They smoke less, drink less alcohol, and show more patience with colleagues and family. The exercise habit doesn't just change their bodies, it fundamentally changes their self-concept. It proves to them that they can make positive changes, which gives them the confidence to improve elsewhere. Other powerful keystone habits include making your bed every morning. It's a small win that starts your day with an act of discipline and order. Tracking what you eat. This simple act of awareness naturally leads to healthier choices. A daily mindfulness practice. This can reduce reactivity and improve focus throughout the day. A shutdown ritual at the end of the workday.
This creates a clear boundary between work and personal life, improving relaxation and sleep. Identifying and focusing your energy on a single keystone habit can be a high-leverage strategy for widespread, almost effortless self-improvement. The perfect tool for instantiating one of these habits is the 2-minute rule. The 2-minute rule, popularized by productivity consultant David Allen and adapted for habit formation by James Clear, has two powerful applications. 1. For productivity, if a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. This is a powerful antidote to the mental clutter and low-grade anxiety caused by a buildup of small nagging tasks. Answering that one email, putting your cup in the dishwasher, hanging up your coat, confirming an appointment. Doing these immediately clears your mental RAM and builds a sense of momentum and control. 2. For habit formation. When starting a new habit, it must take less than 2 minutes to do. This is the practical, actionable version of the too small to fail philosophy. The goal is to master the art of showing up by conquering the physics of real life. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. The greatest friction is always at the beginning. The 2-minute rule is designed solely to overcome that initial inertia. Read before bed each night becomes read one page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Study for class becomes open my notes and review one flashcard. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes and step outside. The beauty of this rule is that it makes it almost impossible to say no. It's not the entire habit, but it is the non-negotiable gateway to it. And the magic is that once you've started, once you've overcome that initial resistance, continuing is often easy. Once the yoga mat is out, you'll probably do a few poses. Once your running shoes are on, you'll likely go for a walk or a short run. The 2-minute rule isn't the finish line, it's the starting block. And in the race of habit formation, a good start is everything.
Part 3. The Art in Practice. Chapter 6. A Healthier You, One Tiny Step at a Time. The journey to physical and mental wellness is perhaps the area most plagued by the all-or-nothing approach. We are bombarded with images of intense workouts and restrictive diets, leading us to believe that health requires a life of painful deprivation and exhaustion. This intimidating vision causes many to never even start. Applying the art of the small win allows for a gentler, more compassionate, more sustainable, and ultimately more successful path to holistic well-being. Physical health microhabits. Hydration. The goal isn't a gallon a day from the outset. Start with this powerful habit stack. After I turn off my morning alarm, I will drink the full glass of water that I placed on my nightstand the night before. This rehydrates you after sleep and kickstarts your metabolism. Movement. Forget the 1-hour gym session. Weave movement into your existing day. The one thing workout. After I brush my teeth, I will do one push-up, or one wall press, or one bodyweight squat. The commercial break workout. During every commercial break while watching TV, I will stand up and do 30 seconds of jumping jacks or marching in place. The stairway to health. When I have a choice between the elevator and the stairs, I will always take the stairs, even if it's just for one flight. Nutrition. A complete dietary overhaul is daunting and often leads to rebound eating. Start by adding, not just subtracting. The +1 veggie. With my dinner, every evening, I will add 1 spoonful of any vegetable to my plate. This is an easy win that builds the habit of including vegetables. The fruit first rule. When I feel a craving for a sugary snack, my rule is I must eat 1 piece of fruit first, like an apple or banana.
If I still want the snack after 15 minutes, I can have it. Often, the fruit satisfies the craving. And posture and sunlight. The posture check. Every time I take a sip of water at my desk, I will roll my shoulders back and sit up straight. The sunlight snack. During my lunch break, I will step outside for 2 minutes to get direct sunlight on my face and arms. This helps regulate circadian rhythms and boosts vitamin D. Mental health microhabits. Mindfulness and meditation. The idea of sitting in silent contemplation for 20 minutes can be more stressful than relaxing for a beginner. The coffee breath. After I take my first sip of coffee, I will close my eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths, focusing only on the sensation of the breath. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. When I feel a wave of stress or anxiety, I will mentally pause and name 5 things I can see, 4 things I can feel, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and 1 thing I can taste. This pulls you out of your anxious thoughts and into the present moment. Journaling for clarity. Don't commit to writing pages. The 1-sentence journal. Before I close my laptop for the day, I will open a document and write 1 single sentence that describes the day. This can be about an accomplishment, a challenge, or a feeling. Digital wellness. The nightstand divorce. 1 hour before my intended bedtime, I will plug my phone into charge across the room, not next to my bed. This single act dramatically reduces late-night scrolling and improves sleep quality. The notification pruning. Today, I will go into my phone settings and turn off all notifications for 1 app that frequently distracts me. Each of these habits is a small, quiet act of self-care, but they send a powerful, cumulative message to your subconscious: I am worthy of being cared for. This fundamental shift in identity is the fertile ground upon which lasting health is built.
Chapter 7. The Productive Professional. Microhabits for Work. The modern workplace is a battlefield for our attention. An endless stream of emails, chat notifications, meeting requests, and shifting priorities makes it easy to spend an entire day being busy without ever being truly productive on the tasks that drive meaningful results. Microhabits are the strategic toolkit you can use to cut through the noise, defend your focus, and regain control of your workday. Taming the digital deluge. Strategic email management. Don't let your inbox be your to-do list. Batching. I will only check and process my email at 3 specific times per day: 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. Put these blocks on your calendar as appointments. Outside of these times, keep your email client closed. The one-touch rule. When I open an email, I will make a decision on it immediately. It must be handled with one of the 4 Ds. Do it if it takes less than 2 minutes. Delegate it. Defer it. Schedule the time to work on it. Or delete it. Defending your focus. The first 25 minutes of my workday before opening my email or chat will be a sacred, uninterrupted block dedicated to my single, most important task. This ensures you make progress on your priorities before the world's priorities invade. Headphones on, world off. Create a clear visual cue for your colleagues. When my noise-canceling headphones are on, it is a signal that I am in a deep work block and should not be disturbed unless it is an emergency. Clarity, prioritization, and communication. The shutdown ritual. This is a keystone habit for work-life balance.
At the end of each workday, I will take 5 minutes to A. Review my calendar for tomorrow, B. Write down my 1 to 3 top priorities for the next day, and C. Say, "Shut down complete" out loud. This provides psychological closure, preventing work from bleeding into your personal time. Meeting mastery. The agenda mandate. I will not accept a meeting invitation that does not have a clear agenda and stated goal. This forces clarity and respects everyone's time. The clarity check. Before sending any important email or message, I will reread it one time from the perspective of the recipient to check for clarity, tone, and a clear call to action. Overcoming procrastination on large projects. The first 5 rule. When faced with a large, daunting project you are avoiding, your only commitment is to work on the smallest possible piece of it for just 5 minutes. Set a timer. I will open the presentation file and choose a title. I will write the code for just one simple function. I will find and cite one source for the report. As we've seen, starting is the point of maximum friction. The momentum gained in those first 5 minutes will often carry you much further into the task than you ever expected. By implementing these micro-habits, you are not just managing your time, you are designing a professional system that protects your focus, which is undoubtedly your most valuable and leveraged asset.
Chapter 8. Cultivating Connections. Micro-habits for relationships. The deepest, most resilient, and most meaningful relationships in our lives are not forged in the crucible of grand, infrequent, cinematic gestures. They are meticulously and patiently woven together through thousands of small, consistent threads of attention, appreciation, validation, and affection. In the rush of modern life, it's easy to let these vital connections fray from neglect. Micro-habits are the daily practice that can keep them strong, vibrant, and deeply rewarding. For romantic partnerships, the daily appreciation. When my partner and I sit down for dinner, I will share one specific thing I appreciated about them today. This practice, taking only 30 seconds, actively shifts the relational climate from one of critique and complaint to one of gratitude and admiration. The welcome home ritual. The moment my partner walks in the door, I will stop what I'm doing, walk over to them, put my phone away, and give them a genuine 6-second hug. Neuroscientists suggest a 6-second hug is long enough to trigger the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This creates a powerful moment of reconnection that bookends the day. The listen to understand rule. The next time my partner is telling me about their day or a problem, my primary goal will be to understand, not to offer a solution. I will use phrases like, "Tell me more about that," or "How did that feel?" For friendships and family, the connection nudge. Every Sunday morning while drinking my coffee, I will send a thinking of you text to one friend I haven't spoken to in a while. This requires zero expectation of a long conversation, but keeps the embers of friendship glowing brightly. Remembering the details. When a friend tells me about an important upcoming event, a job interview, a doctor's appointment, a big presentation, I will immediately create a calendar reminder for the day after to send them a text asking how it went. This simple act is a powerful demonstration that you listen, you remember, and you care. Voicing the positive. The next time I have a positive or admiring thought about a friend or family member, I will not let it remain an internal thought. I will voice it or text it to them immediately. Turning unspoken appreciation into spoken affirmation is a gift that costs nothing. For repairing and strengthening connections. The peace offering. After a minor argument or moment of tension, be the first to offer a small gesture of reconciliation. After a disagreement, I will be the first to offer to make a cup of tea for my partner. This is a nonverbal signal that you wish to restore harmony. The I felt reframe.
In moments of conflict, make this micro-habit shift in your language. I will start my sentences with "I felt" instead of "you did." For example, "I felt unheard" is less accusatory and more likely to be heard than "you never listened to me." These small acts are the relationship equivalent of depositing money in a shared bank account. Each positive interaction is a small deposit that builds a wealth of trust, intimacy, and goodwill over time, creating a buffer that can easily absorb the inevitable stresses and withdrawals that life demands.
Part 4. The Path to Permanence. Chapter 9. The Power of the Streak. Tracking and Celebration. Humans are visual creatures driven by feedback. We are motivated by tangible, undeniable evidence of our progress. This is why tracking your microhabits is not merely a bookkeeping exercise. It is a profound psychological tool that accelerates the habit formation process. The simple act of marking an X on a calendar for each day you complete your habit creates a visual chain. As this chain grows longer, a powerful new motivation emerges. Don't break the chain. This method, often attributed to comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who used it to maintain his daily joke-writing habit, works for several reasons. It leverages our innate desire for completion, our satisfaction in seeing progress, and our aversion to loss. Breaking a 30-day streak feels like a tangible loss, and we will often go the extra mile on a tough day just to keep the chain intact. Effective methods for tracking. The wall calendar. The simplest and often most powerful method. Place it somewhere you will see it every day, like your office or bedroom. The public or semi-public nature of it adds a layer of accountability. Dedicated habit tracker apps. A plethora of apps like Streaks, Habitica, TickTick, or Finch are designed for this purpose. They offer the benefit of reminders, satisfying graphics, and the ability to track habits on the go. A simple notebook. Dedicate a page to each month and create a grid with your habits listed down one side and the days of the month across the top. This bullet journal method is highly customizable. The paperclip method. Get a jar and fill it with 100 paperclips. Get a second jar, empty. Every time you complete your habit, move one paperclip from the full jar to the empty one. This physical representation of progress can be incredibly motivating. The second half of this equation, which is just as important, is celebration. If tracking makes the habit obvious and creates a cue, seeing the empty box, then celebration makes the habit satisfying, completing the four-step loop. This is what wires the behavior more deeply into your brain. A celebration doesn't need to be extravagant or expensive. It's simply a moment of conscious, positive acknowledgement. A tiered system for celebration. Daily micro-reward. Immediately after completing your habit, give yourself a small, instant reward. This could be a mental yes with a fist pump, crossing the item off your list with a colorful pen, or listening to one favorite song. A weekly mini reward. When you complete a 7-day streak, indulge in a slightly larger reward. Savor a fancy coffee, take a longer bath, or spend 30 minutes on a guilt-free hobby. Monthly milestone reward. After hitting a 30-day milestone, plan a more significant celebration. Treat yourself to a new book, a nice dinner out, or an item you've been wanting that supports your new identity, e.g. new running shoes after a month of consistent running. One word of caution: be careful not to let your reward contradict your habit. Don't reward yourself for a week of healthy eating with a massive binge on junk food. The reward should support, not sabotage your goals. Tracking and celebration are the systems that transform a fleeting act into a permanent fixture of your identity.
Chapter 10. Navigating the Dip, When Motivation Fades. No matter how small your habits are or how much initial enthusiasm you have, there will inevitably come a time when you don't feel like doing them. Life gets in the way. You'll be tired, sick, stressed, or simply uninspired. Progress is never a linear march to victory. There will be plateaus and setbacks. This inevitable slump is what marketing guru Seth Godin famously calls the dip. It's the long, arduous stretch between the initial excitement of starting and the moment the meaningful results become apparent. This is the point where most people quit. Your strategy for navigating the dip is what will ultimately determine your long-term success. The golden rule: never miss twice. This is the single most critical rule for habit sustainability. Missing one day is an accident. It happens to everyone. Missing 2 days is the beginning of a new, undesirable habit of quitting. Life is unpredictable, and perfection is an impossible standard. You will miss a day eventually. The key is to let it be an isolated incident. Forgive yourself for the lapse immediately and without judgment, and then put all your focus on getting right back on track the very next day. This approach builds resilience and teaches you that a single stumble doesn't have to mean falling down the entire flight of stairs. When in doubt, scale it down. On days when you have absolutely zero motivation or energy, your commitment is not to the full habit, but to the too small to fail 2-minute version. If your habit is to run for 20 minutes and you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, your only job is to put on your running shoes and step outside. That's it. You keep the streak alive. You cast another vote for your identity as a runner. You showed up. More often than not, once the shoes are on and you feel the fresh air, you might just decide to walk around the block. But even if you don't, even if you turn around and go right back inside, you have won the day. Never let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Detach from your feelings and attach to your identity. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fleeting. Commitment is an identity. On the days you don't feel like it, remind yourself of the identity you are building. You don't ask yourself, do I feel like exercising today? You tell yourself, I am a person who exercises. A writer writes even on days they aren't inspired. A healthy person makes healthy choices even when tempted. Your actions should be guided by your commitment to your identity, not by the whims of your daily mood. Conduct a habit audit. If you find yourself consistently struggling with a particular habit, it might be time for a quick audit. Is the habit still serving you? Is the cue effective? Is it still too difficult? Perhaps the context of your life has changed. It's okay to adjust, modify, or even replace a habit. A habit system should be a helpful guide, not a rigid prison. A periodic review keeps your system relevant and effective. The dip is not a sign of your failure. It is a filter. It separates those who are merely interested in a result from those who are committed to a process. By having a clear plan for these difficult days, you ensure that you are in the latter group.
Chapter 11. The Compound Effect, Your Micro-Habits as Investments. We have now reached the ultimate secret, the grand magic behind the art of the small win, the astonishing, world-altering power of the compound effect. Coined and popularized by author Darren Hardy, the principle is simple, yet its implications are profound. Small, seemingly insignificant smart choices, when performed with relentless consistency over a long period of time, will lead to massive, life-altering results. It's a concept we readily understand from the world of finance. A small sum of money invested today, thanks to the miracle of compound interest, will grow into a fortune over several decades. Your daily habits are investment in your future self, and they compound in the exact same way. Each habit is a small deposit into the bank account of your health, your knowledge, your career, or your relationships. Consider the magic penny analogy. If I offered you a choice between $3 million in cash today or a single penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days, which would you choose? Most would take the $3 million. After 1 week, your penny is worth just $1.28. You feel foolish. After 2 weeks, it's worth $163.84.
Still nowhere near $3 million. After 3 weeks, it's worth $21,971.52. Better, but you're still far behind. This is the dip where the effort seems to outweigh the reward. But then, the compounding kicks in. On day 29, you have $2.7 million. On day 30, you have $10,737,418.24. This is how your micro-habits work. Reading 1 page a day seems like nothing. It's the equivalent of your penny on day 3. But that's 365 pages in a year, the length of a substantial book. Over a decade, that's more than 10 books filled with knowledge you would not have had otherwise. Improving at any skill by just 1% each day feels imperceptible, but a 1% daily improvement, when compounded, means you are over 37 times better at the end of a single year. Conversely, this effect also works in reverse. 1 soda a day, 15 minutes of mindless scrolling instead of connecting with your partner, 1 slightly negative comment. These are small, bad habits, but compounded over years, they lead to diabetes, alienated relationships, and a toxic environment. They are the negative compound effect that silently ruins lives. The effect is subtle at first, which is why it's so easy to dismiss. In the first few weeks or even months, the results of your micro-habits will be almost invisible. But those who have the patience and the persistence to stick with their small wins will eventually hit an inflection point where the growth curve sweeps upward and the results become not just visible, but extraordinary. This is the macro success that was promised. It doesn't arrive like a lightning strike. It emerges gradually, and then, all at once, the product of every single push-up, every single page read, every single dollar saved, and every moment of gratitude expressed.